Yo, what the? Why you guys sending Duel? I mean, I don't mind Duel. Like, I like this guy. I like Smog a lot, but you guys are sending a monk back in there? Facile. Gonna be first up over for the Team 1 of Team 1 being Darley. We got us as Alonia. We got us as Kiosk. We got us as Silent. Actually, we got us as Warlocks. And Facile already seeing a Zuwen approaching. Did Duel mean to send a Zuel in there? On the Team 1, we got us as Arhi in the back. Ready to go Cal Drogo, G-Funk, as well as Sajiro. It looks like Duel is just gonna wait. Did he mean to send Zuwen in there? Does he not care for Zuwen burst? Or is Zuwen like gonna be around for a while? So long that's like, you know what? I can just wait. Like, Zuwen is gonna be out for 20 seconds. I can AFK 15 of them and then charge in there. Or maybe he's like, you know what? I don't even Zuwen. Gonna be immediate tricking out of Duel as you going for Big Bitty B versus Facile. Facile is going to take a bit of that damage in the open. A Dark Pack was used really early. Trying to see if he can port away from the monk. And then he's going to be able to hit him with a Mortal Call of Fear to follow. Facile maybe can set something up. Got himself a Fell Lord just in case the monk goes to get up in melee. And now he just knows he's just going to bail out of there. Get him more pets in there. Get the Tyrant up and running. So the Duel knows he needs to fight all those Fell Guards, all those Zimadogas. Ring of Peace in around the corner. Facile has to swing around from this angle. Going to be in cap on him. Does the Tyrant get the big damage? Looks like Tyrant is having to run at him. Gonna be potentially a port maybe? No. Facile port is out in the open. So Duel does at least end up baiting a lot of the cooldowns out of the Facile and is able to survive Fist of Fury and a lot of those pets to parry him 100%. And it's gonna go for roots as he goes in for a bit of Vivifies. But it looks like Zuwen disappears. Duel definitely has a big leg sweep ready. A quick flash script interrupt onto Facile. And Facile could potentially go for a wall here. Gonna be a big burst. Trinket out of Facile. Stun to Duel. No Trinket. Gonna be Fell Lord down. Facile getting hit with the Karma. Is gonna summon up a Tyrant. Gonna be in cap by Duel just to disrupt the Tyrant. Fast cast is up for Facile with the Obelisk. Does get the interrupt onto the Tyrant. Duel continues to do damage. Facile keeping him in the Fell Lord range. Gonna be a Mortal Call into a Fear. Does he have a big setup? Tyrant is up. Hand go down coming out. Decimated bolt. Potentially big damage on Duel. Does he go down here? It's gonna be a shield as he does dip low. Facile is gonna try to see if he can swing around the corner and needs to get that interrupt on a Duel. The Decimated bolts are going through, but it looks like a lot of the damage is absorbed heavily by Duel. I was thinking those was going to be some really beefy demon bolts, but something, maybe he never finished the cast. Maybe something happened in between. But Facile finds himself super low, trying to avoid the touch of death, but I think the monk has him in a good setup. Unless Facile has CC right now, Duel does end up taking him out, whittling down the Warlock over time, hitting him with a quick touch of death, taking him out of the game. With Kiosk setting up traps for Duel, Duel just trying to be extra careful, trying to go for as much self-healing as possible, trying to avoid the traps as best he can. He knows that the trap is waiting right next to him. If he just goes slide to the right. Flame shot set up by Kiosk. Could be getting a bunch of back-to-back kill shots. Big Bitty be down with a leg sweep onto Kiosk. Does not take the damage. Feign death at the last second of it. Does reduce a lot of the BDB damage towards the tail end of it. Duel with a trick and still lots of damage for Kiosk with a Karma to follow. Kiosk just got a lot of defenses out of Duel. He just didn't survive and still continue to lob grenades. That is going to be Karma reversing damage back to Kiosk. But he does have some acceleration before we dive into the dampener. Going to be quick interrupt on a Duel. Flame shot back up and running. That's going to be potentially huge kill shots. Duel super low in hell. I think one more hit could be over, but Kiosk super low as well. And Kiosk does end up sniping him out. It was Sajiro not giving Kiosk an opportunity. Has reflect back up as soon as he charges in. Kiosk needs to go for Turtle as soon as possible. Feign death real quickly. Turtle shell just to make sure he's as careful as he can be. And Sajiro could potentially get the pet to start attacking him. As Kiosk laying down those traps, Sajiro, does he wait until he has reflect? Or does he just run into those traps early? He no longer has a Blade Storm. He just ate a steel trap, so he knows the next trap is most likely going to be freezing. As Kiosk takes the opportunity with Sajiro looking for the flashcraft, Kiosk takes the opportunity just to feign death, go into a camo, and reset completely. And Sajiro trying to be proactive, picking up the eyes as soon as possible. We're at that 6-minute mark, boys. The dampen is going to start rolling in little by little. Kiosk trying to get himself as much self-healing as he can while inside a camo, avoiding the warrior to the best of his abilities. Going to be Sajiro leaping out maybe a little early, but does himself full burst ready to go. Big banner available, and I think together with Recklessness, but that steel trap is going to stop him in place unless he has a Blade Storm to break himself out. Might be pretty rough. Needs to make sure he has Reflect available in case there's a freezing trap waiting for him. Stun to Sajiro, drinking it out. Kiosk definitely is going to have a freezing trap. If you can just line it up, if you know that he just stunned you, you're just drinking it, you know the next trap is going to be a freezing trap. So if you have Reflect for it, just preempting the Reflect is going to end up winning you the game, I think. Kiosk trying to survive as the Blaze Storm is chasing after him, taking a bit of damage, steel trap up, and Sajiro again, it's almost like every time clockwork he has a Reflect, it's always to a steel trap. the prediction, the mind games, that's going to be tough. So Sejuro is going to have to find a way to adapt. But he's not a hunter. So hunters are probably one of the better classes for adaptation. You know, they learn how to survive as squishy as they are. Fear onto Kiosk the pet, running way out there. Into a freezing trap, Sejuro could not have predicted that one. As Kiosk is looking for a reset with the full manic bandages. As well as Kiosk, Sejuro most likely has Reflect back up. You just need to be very, very careful to it. Big on Rage Gen. Does have Reflect right now. Gonna be a stun onto Sejuro. And that Reflect again just not doing nothing for him. With a Steel Trap to stop in place. Again, Kiosk just trying to see if he can whittle him down over time. Just trying to play it as careful as he can. Sejuro charging in, trying to max out as much damage as he can inside of that Recklessness window. Gonna be Kiosk back it up out. Again, another Freezing Trap onto Sejuro. Wait, maybe he taunted that pet that time around? Or was it the Kiosk sending the pet in that time? I think it might have been Kiosk doing that. Flash got double. Kiosk gets up in melee with Sejuro, barely at any health. Couple of grenades, one more kill shot will do the trick. It does end up taking him out with a flanking strike. Under so lame. He does end up having to play a lot of light aside, a lot of pillars though, but he doesn't need to just use it for survival. He does want to try to win. Can't really blame him, honestly. Maybe if Kiosk could play the same, I feel like when you have double leggers for hunters, they're going to be able to have even more damage, so they'll be able to play a little bit more aggressive. But right now they have to kind of play, or a lot of them feel they have to play defensive. As like Kiosk is already getting ripped apart while those Demon Dog is in lightning bolts. This is what happens when you don't play defensive. This is what happens when you don't kite around the pillar. You just get blasted out by lightning bolts and early blast, and then Ghost Rogue Dog is just eat you alive. Silent next up. As the Demonology Warlock versus Archie. Archie already licking his wounds after fighting the Hunter, trying to see if he might be able to use his totems in order to deal with Silent. Does dropping down the stun is going to be Dark Pack by the Warlock. Archie not playing the grounding totem for this time around, so Silent is at least going to be able to get himself a little bit of resources and big damage that Archie cannot prevent unless he goes for the interrupt or walls it off. Or CC Silent, I guess. Quick interrupt onto the Vile Fiend, which is actually a spellcast that isn't Shadow, that isn't Demon. It's actually on a whole different school of spells. So it does give Silent quite a bit of castability, but Archie just zapping right through Silent so far. Demon Tyrant, maybe the Tyrant can make enough damage happen. Silent finds himself super low. Gonna be Mortal Coil into Archie. Does he have enough damage? Needs himself instant cast as fast as possible. Another Silent into Archie. Does he have enough damage here to finish him? Archie barely alive, but does keep healing himself through all the damage with a Maelstrom and the man. It could be anyone's game. Does get himself one more heal here. 12 minutes in a duel. Quick sounder to Silent. Gonna be a trinket out of the Warlock. Does he survive out of here? Boarding way out of here as Archie just getting blasted by these pets. I think Silent's down though. Sends out his final Demon Bolt, but Archie had enough damage to keep it going. Alonia walking into Archie who has no mana. I don't know what he's looking like in Maelstrom. Barely as much of a flesh count, a 47% dampener. And Archie looking to get a Thunderstone into Alonia and maybe get out of that. I think the bleeds are just gonna rot you down, but does go for a battle versus Trinket, but there's only so much you can do. There's no way you make it out of here, man. There's no way unless you get mana out of nowhere. Sundoor into Alonia. Does he see him for a second? Maybe he can get enough mana for a heal. Potentially. He's still running. Oh my goodness. That heal did almost nothing. Does give himself a double heal proc though. Potentially another heal. Stunned by Alonia. Trick it out of Archie. He did the best he could, but you're just so far into the game where you're just not going to get any kind of healing. Really, G-Funk dropping down big damage. Alonia does not pre-wall this. Is that going to be a big explosion? No big explosion. As G-Funk's playing a very, very defensive flank and strike for G-Funk. As Alonia continuing just to get damage into G-Funk. Gonna be a feigned death potentially for G-Funk. Might want to clear all the bleeds. Alonia got the big bleeds. Gonna be a fear. G-Funk does end up smacking him down with Darley up next. Got himself the Ice Form Burst this time around. Gonna be G-Funk diving into that Turtle Shell immediately. Freezing Trap on a Darley as the Frost Mage gets frozen. I feel like he should be immune to ice. I feel like Darley should be immune to freezing. Especially when he's literally in the form of ice. He's literally in a form encased in ice. And you're putting him on ice. What? Gonna be big lances for G-Funk. I think this man might be going down. Barely in health left. Darley needs to get a melee of him as soon as possible. Fully into a lance and does end up taking him out. Will Khal Drogo last one over for the team too. Darley looking for the reset. Does have ice blocks if anything. If that's a lot of damage on a Khal Drogo, Darley could ice block it, maybe recover before dampening really ramps up. He's trying not to give Khal Drogo an ice block easily. He's just trying to avoid him as best as he can. Maybe Darley can go for a reset, catch up on a bit of food. Hopefully this man's made himself some mana buns ahead of time. It looks like he did. Flesh cut up for Khal Drogo, but that flesh cut is going to be quite small. Darley recovering every bit of health. Poor Khal Drogo right in front of Darley's face. Ice Form is up. Dropping down big frozen orb and blizzard. Darla needs to find a way to get away from Khal Drogo just so you can get some casts off. Potentially could be an ice block here. Looks like that is going to be an ice block. Khal Drogo looking for a reset. Darly just letting that ice block heal him back up to full. 61% dampener. Drogo has the win back up and everything. Does Target's Fury out of that Nova. Darly needs to find a way to deal with Khal Drogo. Just needs to find a way to get him off his back for a bit. Big Fist of Fury is still continuing to fly. Frostbolt, as is going to be a Karma. Darly getting quite a lot of defenses out of Khal Drogo. That flurry is kind of huge. It's going to be altered time, put himself back up to a good spot. Big BDB dropping in. Khal Drogo trinkets out of Polly. As Darly had no health whatsoever, he might need to ice block this to win. Oh my goodness. Just kind of waiting them out. He has incaps, he has stuns, he has everything available. Darly's gonna have to play it like a god right now if he wants to live this. Nova does not have a way to get away. Gonna be an interrupt. Darly getting locked out on Shadow. Dropping down Frozen Orb with Ice Form. Everything bursts up versus Drogo. Does he have a route to prevent the monk from running at him? Flurry, wait, potentially big damage. In cap to Darly, trinkets out of it, trying to finish Khal Drogo as best as he can. Nova might do it. Flurry, oh, no way! Darly actually ended up winning that one. Are you kidding me? I think it was straight up the Mirza Torment that did it. Mirza Torment just giving him procs at the very end. No way. What the? I am surprised, amazed, and kind of confused. How do you live that?